morning, Governor Brian Kemp has officially signed off on his final state budget as governor.
And with it, a conservative strategy directing state agencies to withhold hundreds of millions in proposed new funding.
Atlanta News First reporter Mary Kate Hamilton is live this morning at our state capitol. There's mixed reaction, Mary Kate, to this decision.
Yeah, that's right. Governor Kemp says that with sizable tax cuts, the state is now bracing for less revenue to come in. So he says that now is the time to really press the brakes on any new spending. However, Democrats argue that that $300 million that had been approved would have gone towards vital state services that now the state won't get. So here is the breakdown. Kemp is telling state agencies to hit pause on that more than $300 million in proposed new spending as the state absorbs the cost of recent tax cuts. The governor's budget office says those cuts could reduce revenue by $1.3 billion, and he says that number could climb if the economy slows. Kemp insists existing services won't be cut because this only affects new spending, like, for example, Sunbucks. That was a summer meal program whose funding was approved this session and will now be rolled back. Democrats say the impact will be real, fewer resources and delays in key programs.
As long as I'm governor, Georgia will not follow in the steps of Washington, D.C., where too many politicians refuse to make tough decisions necessary to keep spending in check.
The governor had to take a red pen and strike through so many things people depend on. It sounds great in the headlines. Headlines sound great. Oh, we're going to give you tax breaks. But what is underneath that is that you're going to lose the services that you depend on.
Now, Governor Kemp added that he will not put his successor in a difficult fiscal situation as, again, he wraps up his time here as governor. For now, live at the Georgia State Capitol, Mary Kate Hamilton, Atlanta News First.
Mary Kate, thank you. This morning, one of the bills that was just signed by Governor Kemp is getting some pushback. House Bill 369 would create nonpartisan elections for select government positions such as commissioners as well as district attorneys starting in the year 2028. The ballot would no longer indicate if someone was running as a Democrat or a Republican, but it only applies to 5 counties: Cobb, Fulton, DeKalb, Clayton, and Gwinnett. Supporters say it removes politics from public service, but opponents say this is unconstitutional and quite confusing to voters. Fulton County's DA, Fonnie Willis, and DeKalb District Attorney Sherry Boston released a joint statement which reads in part, "This is a blatant attempt by Republicans to give their candidates an edge in Democratic counties by hiding their party affiliation from voters. We'll be taking legal action to have this illegal law overturned."